So, one more to go. Our sponsor, Business Finland and Pekka Rantala will have the final say before I have the final say. So, Pekka, please.
How many minutes, please?
Half an hour, 20 minutes.
Drinks first. So good afternoon, everybody. So are you still awake? So I'm. Yes, at least one. Good to notice. I 2 notes. So I'm happy to be kind of the least intelligent person in the room, and secondly, I am between me. I am and Ari between you and lunch. So, anyways, my presentation, let's put a kind of raw mode on. So raw, R stands for resilience, A stands for art, and W stands for wisdom, not war, wisdom. So please stay awake. So let us imagine a kind of future or kind of city of tomorrow. It will comprise, for example, precision farming, very efficient logistics, autonomous logistics, vehicles, cars, trains, and telemedicine services, for example. But there are bad guys, adversaries around. So they try to hack our university hospital. They try to jam our GPS signals, or they try to disrupt, for example, the smart ports. So let me introduce you the world of CSI. So I know I'm not talking about Hollywood here. So it doesn't stand for crime scene investigation, but it stands for connectivity, as we know, sensing capabilities of the future 6G and the AI inference. So that is why we should be kind of prepared for the future together. And I'm kind of a very simple person, so kind of my kind of top 3 building blocks for any smart society are those 3. So of course, energy has been mentioned a couple of times here, but maybe not enough. So energy, so kind of a production, storage, markets, distribution to end customers has to be resilient and in place, and of course those connectivity and compute and computation part. So regarding the future, so kind of Justin Hotard, the CEO of Nokia, is talking about AI supercycle. So we are kind of in the beginning of AI supercycle. So that means we are connecting, kind of transitioning from connecting people and devices to connecting intelligence. So that means AI, and the kind of maybe in this context distributed AI or decentralized AI. And for example, what the NVIDIA is talking about future AI adoption. So in the future, we are connecting billions of human AI users. So I mean smart glasses, phones, tablets to the network. So that means in a couple of years' time, 10 to 15 billion smart human AI users have kind of a connection to the 6G world. But also, at the same time, we are kind of in the beginning of AI agents era. So that means, Ari, you will have your own AI agents working 24/7 in the internet to work for you, hopefully. For example, I can, purchase a bicycle. My AI agent can do it automatically for me. So there will be billions of AI agents throughout the net. And of course, the billions of connected machines, they are smart they could be smart lamps, they could be smart poles, they could be cars, humanoid robots, very smart vacuum cleaners, whatsoever. So there will be kind of billions of something combined, multiplied by billions of AI agents and with the connected machines. So plenty of kind of exposed surface to for adversaries. So what comes to this kind of sensing and automation part? So integrated sensing and automation is very interesting part of the 6G. So sensing part, it can gather data around us, for example, for civilian purposes, for example, to detect something interesting which is happening around here. For example, the shape, size and speed of any object, whether it's connected or unconnected. So it's a radar. But also at the same time that those sensing capabilities can be utilized for resilience purposes. So for adaptability and autonomy. So with all those three topics, so the networks will need to be smarter and more agile, so kind of a dynamic ones, in order to be the kind of best service for us and our needs, because the technology is not so important. So the important part is how we are utilizing the technology. But anyways, we have kind of heard about at least a couple of three definitions of resilience. I kind of had a chat with my old buddy, ChatGPT. So it's kind of a good kind of a definition of how to bounce back, how to withstand with the situation, and how to become stronger. It feels like a song. But anyways, but it's a good definition among the others previously mentioned here. So I'm not talking about 7G, but 7 technologies, and how a few aspects of 6G resilience. So maybe you have heard about Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, in the US. So they have published a paper 2 years back for 7 technologies that are critical to win a future war. So I have stratified the paper in one slide. So that to my eyes, the 6G is belonging to the center column here, to strategic part. So AI, ML is part of the 6G story, space, sensors, and all communications, and of course this security and redundancy, so namely resilience. So please just Google the 7 technologies of future war and this CSIS is a very good concise paper. So this picture has been previously shown already, so to my eyes I have got to pick maybe top 5 slices of this pizza, so to my eyes kind of the most relevant for resilience. But I'm not an expert, but I'm just kind of looking as an old ICT consultant eyes, so those are the kind of most relevant for me. But anyways, regarding that future 6G vision, so I have kind of put one slide which is related to future and of course this resilience part. So 6G will increase the amount of internet users by 3 billion people, mainly via satellites. The sustainability is in place, as for example has previously Marja-Matti Mikko-Pulu has demonstrated us, and this 3 worlds combines physical, digital and metaverse world combined. But there are 3 A's and 3 C's below the hood. So AI, ML and agentic AI and generative AI and also classical AI. So that will increase the amount of attack surface, but of course there will be new kinds of APIs, how my system can talk to Ari's system, maybe without predefined written code. Maybe the AI agents can, in real time, provide code that I can exchange data with Ari. And of course, maybe, for example, this metaverse world, maybe augmented reality is the most promising one, what comes to business value. And also, how to connect people and devices and intelligence to those, so there has to be new new chips around, how to save energy, but also at the same time be more performant. And 6G is cloud native and cyber secure as we are contributing to that part. And what comes to this kind of industrial part and regulatory part, so regulation and spectrum, there has to be enough spectrum for everybody, maybe via dynamic spectrum sharing, regulation, of course, what comes to data and security and so on, and the standardization. Either it's done via 3GPP way, O-RAN way, or some kind of disruptive way. Plenty of pathways forward to future. So, I have kind of flown here and there around the globe, so I have kind of put together 2 slides on resilience. So I have heard from the experts around the globe that, for example, life cycle assessment is not fully in place. Whether it's related to 5G or 6G, but anyways, life cycle assessment is not they are quite seldomly found. And of course, any technology is not important, but in order to introduce a new technology, so the social acceptance part is really important. How to train people to utilize that technology in a right way, because we want to avoid, for example, misconfigurations. And solid user experience is one part of this kind of acceptance and usability part. Of course, the future is not a simple one, it's a complex one. Security is kind of a very difficult, huge task, because all the blockchain technologies, AI, quantum, you name it, are part of the story. So let's keep it as simple as it gets, but anyways, the complexity brings a lot of new challenges. But the attack surface will kind of explode, so the limited UIs is one challenge, weak computation power of any IoT device, decoupling the control data planes, maybe O-RAN is one part of the challenges, and multi-vendor interoperability. And my claim is that we currently lack autonomous network type capabilities, but maybe teleoperators, they don't share the same vision. Additionally, so we have to get rid of the human error factor, because it could kill people. National roaming has been mentioned at least a couple of times. It's one part of the kind of story towards the future. Hybrid networks, 5G, 6G, optical ones, low altitude pseudo satellites, and the higher ones, they are part of the solution, and maybe drones as well. And I have been a bit worried about this kind of a precise clock timing service, but anyway, Elisa yesterday convinced me I could be wrong, but there are about 150 teleoperators in Europe, so I bet that the same situation is not in every place throughout Europe. Of course, if something happens, whether there could be a kind of a some kind of a limp mode or good enough mode for the base stations to provide services for example, to critical communications and in order to save the energy. And renewable energy is quite seldomly introduced to this context. So that could be one part of the solution. And maybe to intensify the MNOs, maybe Elisa is on board already, but I don't know what about the others, to provide resilient enough services. And of course, it's always good to start with the worst case situation regarding unknowns of the unknowns. Okay, so I'm not going to dive into this, but I just have kind of Googled a bit about call for action. Maybe this framework could help us to make this huge task a little bit simplified one. But just I'm kind of throwing in one idea. So 2 slides about 6G bridge program. So currently we have a 4-year program already started in the beginning of 23 and concluding till the or lasting until the end of next year. We have a committed funding of 130 million euros. We are open to any ambitious project idea, whether it's a national or international one. So we have a huge currently ongoing collaboration with the US, so namely NSF and DOW and NIST in the background. But anyways, we are open to any ideas, so we are open 24/7, 365 days a year. So we have, I would say, quite suitable funding instruments for collaboration. So I have highlighted a few. So there are a few industry verticals presented here, and of course on the low right-hand corner is the Finnish National 6G Test Network project, and the kind of a phase 2 will be starting pretty soon. But plenty of money, but always good ideas, highly ambitious ideas are much needed. So how to reach the Finnish 5G, 6G community in Finland and abroad during the next 6 or 7 months. So I have highlighted a few activities, what we plan to do. And while you are reading that, I'm preparing myself for the art part. This has been introduced yesterday. Hopefully you heard it, but with my buddy ChatGPT, I'm going to repeat the poem of 6G and resilience. Yeah, I have a special request. So the title is The Gospel of 6G. We dreamed of 6G's lightning speed, a wireless wizard built to lead. It zips through walls, through trees, through cheese. Well, maybe not cheese, but someday, please. Yet when the network starts to sneeze, we practice calm resiliencies. Restart the router, chant a spell, pretend we understood it well. Through glitches, drops and loading screens, our hope in future tech remains. For when 6G arrives at last, we will lose it, then reboot it fast. So that was that part. So thank you, OpenAI, Microsoft. And then the kind of the wisdom part. So let's do it together. Let's kind of obey Yoda's words. So thank you.
Thank you, Pekka. Questions?
Please save those most difficult ones to experts, but anyway, I open to kind of a simple questions.
Are there any simple questions?
Open for collaboration, and happy to have you gonna have a lunch with you afterwards. But anyways, thank you.
Thank you very much.